And we are live. How about you, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the Auburn Live Recruiting Call-In Show. I'm your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for Auburn Live on 3. We're going to do our best tonight to answer questions, to address comments. To help me do so, I got my main man, Mr. Jhead. Mr. Jhead, how you doing, big dog?
I am doing fantastic, brother. I'm going to do the dirty work for you tonight. I'm going to say
Please.
everybody that's watching this stream right now, please smash that like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, give Jeffrey, Cole, Keith, Justin, all the fantastic people at Auburn Live on 3 your business today, okay?
Oh.
And I am excited to talk about recruiting. I'm excited to talk about the team. I'm excited to wish a happy birthday to Cole and his daughter, Coleman. So,
Coleman,
that's right.
Coleman is 1 year old today. And Cole is going to be with her and the family. We certainly encourage him to do so. He will return, I think, maybe Thursday or Friday for the Shriveled Pod.
Yes, sir.
But he needed a night, man. He's been working his ass off, been traveling to and fro Auburn. Was actually at practice today at 4:15, then returned home to be with his family and celebrate the 1 year anniversary of the birth of his daughter, firstborn.
Can't beat that, man. You listen. I think Cole would not miss the call-in show for anything else, but the first birthday of your first child, can't miss that, guys. Sorry.
oh, Cleveland Brown. That's singular. That's not an NFL team. That's a person. Singular. Cleveland Brown. He said he stuck with us for another year. You're welcome, Cleveland.
Yeah.
You are welcome. Hey, Jhead, we've got kind of lead off this show. We've had a lot, believe it or not. Here we are in the middle of August and got some recruiting news on the ticker. Had several new offers go out beginning late last week when Auburn offered Friday afternoon 2 junior college offensive tackles in Elijah Philip is how I would say it, but I'm sure it's Felipe. And then Isaiah Jhead, who is committed to South Carolina, but is a former teammate of Keontae Scott.
Yes.
Both of them, I thought these were 2 huge offers. This came right after the commitment of J.C. Hart, if you'll remember. J.C. Hart committed, and about an hour later, Auburn offered these 2 JUCO guys. I mean, it's not relative, but I just remember I was coming home from J.C. Hart's commitment. But 2 big offers we had just talked about last week, the offensive line and the 3 levels that these Auburn was going to go to get some guys in this class, high school, junior college, transfer portal. And Friday afternoon, they went after these 2 guys, have offered. Both say they're going to visit. I don't see why they wouldn't at this point. Jhead, what'd you think about these offers?
I thought it was big. And, you had been hinting, you and Keith both had been foreshadowing this coming for a while now. You kind of knew that they were shopping in this market, that they were looking for some experienced talent on the offensive line, specifically at tackle, given what we're losing going into next year. I think I was of the impression this would come a little bit later after they had a chance to see him in live game action.
Oh, yeah.
But they liked enough of what they saw on tape in the conversations, because that was the revealing part is in your reporting, Jeffrey, they've been talking to these guys for a while now. It wasn't a situation where they just flipped on the tape, said, hey, we're going to throw an offer. They've been communicating with these guys for a while, so they know who they are. They like what they've heard in the conversations. The skill sets are there to help us in the 2 deep next year, whether they start or not. These are 2 guys that can come in and fill a gap in your 2 deep that can help layer that depth as we talked about. One of them probably is more of a pure left tackle than the other. I see a little bit more out of Felipe at this point than I do out of Jhead from that standpoint. But Jhead is exceptional on the right-hand side. You got to have 2 tackles in this class. You need 2 experienced tackles, and now you've offered 2.
Big time. I think this would be the year Auburn would be able to sell to the portal. They would be able to sell to junior college guys. You've got an entire offensive line coming back. As you said last week, I think there's only 8 guys, 8 scholarship guys, 8 roster spot guys coming back next year on next year's roster. So huge opportunity for Auburn to get some experienced offensive linemen, whether it be JUCO or transfer portal. So getting these 2 guys offered, getting them on campus is the next step. Both of them have said they plan to do so. So some other big offers come out of the high school ranks in the 2023 class. To Darius
Collins,
the 3-star defensive end from, I think, Louisiana.
That's correct.
3-star defensive end. And then the 4-star defensive back that's committed to Penn State, which was Conrad Hussey.
Yes. Combo defensive back that could play safety, could play corner. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't heard back yet as to exactly where we're going to recruit him just yet. I think On3 has him as a safety. But from what I've seen on tape, he's a guy that you could put in a multitude of different positions. So really important offer. And that's another offer in the state of Florida where our main man, Keith Niebuhr's at today with another flip target of Cedric Hawkins.
Cedric Hawkins. Boy, I tell you what, Keith posted a couple of clips on him just from practice. And to my untrained amateur eye, man, his hips, dude.
Yeah.
He could flip them hips, boy.
He really could, Jeffrey. And what it showed me is he's not locked into just being like a safety. He's a guy you could definitely put in the nickel, a guy that could replace Donovan Kaufman at some point. A very valuable, versatile piece that you would want to add, and you can understand why he's so highly regarded.
Oh, no doubt. He officially visited back in June. Listen, he said all the right things when he left if you're an Ohio State fan. Yes. He said, hey, I liked my visit here. I had a great time. I got to visit my sister in Montgomery, who's stationed there in Montgomery. But, man, I'm locked into Ohio State. I can tell you, I talked to Cedric off the record before and after that interview. That was intentional.
Yeah.
That was intentional. He did not want to stir the pot with Ohio State. And there is a very good relationship with Auburn, Zach Etheridge, and Cedric Hawkins. You've got Rock Bellantoni as well on him. A lot of good things happening here. I certainly don't want to get anyone's hopes up, but we've been saying this for a while. Even after he said all that stuff, he's somebody to watch, man. He is.
Correct.
And I think Keith had said Ohio State's got a pretty big DB board. I mean, a DB group already committed.
So I think they just picked up a third highly regarded safety in this class. So it boils down to spots sometimes. And if you're reading the room and pegging recruitments accurately, you know that when a crowded room starts to happen in a recruiting class, that somebody's eye typically starts to wander. Will that happen with Cedric Hawkins? We don't know just yet, but he's definitely somebody that's stayed in communication with Zach Etheridge. Definitely somebody that we're interested in, that we're going to pursue very vigorously.
And it might not be, he might be a guy that you don't know until December 19th.
100%. Why would you tip your hand if you were him?
I completely agree. Robert Woodyard 2.0, if that were to happen, it would be huge. Be a big deal. Some other big news out of Auburn today was the addition or the hiring of an executive director for On to Victory, Auburn's main NIL collective, and that was the return to a familiar place for a familiar face and former director of recruiting Brett Whiteside. Brett Whiteside coming back to Auburn to run the NIL, and I thought it was a great hire. I know Brett personally. I've worked with him for several years, dating back to when he was on Gus Malzahn's staff here. Awesome dude. Very awesome dude and very knowledgeable. He knows the recruiting landscape. He knows Auburn. He knows personnel at Auburn. He knows Rich McGlynn in the compliance department very well. This was about as good as you could have hoped for, don't you think, Jhead?
Listen, this is a grand slam hire. Mm-hmm. You brought in a Southside Gadsden kid, graduate of Auburn University, that loves Auburn, wants to be here first and foremost. You know you're going to get your best out of him each and every day. Secondly, it's the number of hats that he wore underneath the Gus Malzahn administration. You just spoke to it. He worked as the director of football operations. He worked exclusively with the recruiting staff. He was a recruiting intern when he was a student at Auburn. He just came from Missouri, where they landed the number 13th ranked class in the country last year, which far outkicks Eli's coverage at Missouri. No offense to the Missouri Tigers, okay? But that's recruiting way above your head, and Brett was a huge part of that. So understands the recruiting landscape in the SEC better. He understands the recruiting landscape within our regional footprint, has worked with the compliance department, and if there is a difficult part of NIL, it is being on the same page with what compliance will and won't allow and how those deals are constructed and the negotiations that they can have and the advertising that they can do. With Brett understanding all of those angles and having, already built-in relationships with that department, this should help accelerate what we plan to do in the NIL department.
Huge, big deal. And, a lot of fans asking what they can do, man, as far as recruiting goes. No, this NIL collective is going to be about getting the players. Excuse me. the NIL deals, which is going to trickle down to the recruits. This is what we can do for you when you get here, right?
Yes.
Okay, you're gonna see a lot more advertising. And as far as fans go, I know that the On to Victory is going to have their subscription model up before or around first kickoff. So September 3rd, in the next 2 weeks, there's going to be a new subscription model out where I'm sure it's going to be from the poorest of poors to the richest of riches. Pick one, dude, and try to help out. If you're not, man, there's really not much you can complain about as far as NIL is concerned. Zach, jump on in here, big dog. Save me.
Oh, no, you're good. We got a caller. He's been waiting since the beginning of the show.
Damn, dude.
Wait, I wanted to get y'all's opening comments because once we get off the rails, there's no going back.
That's a good point.
This is true.
706, you're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Calling from Wichita Falls, Texas. This is Bryce.
Bryce from Wichita Falls, Texas.
Originally from Beulah.
Hey, our main man from Beulah. You called in a couple shows back, brother. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How's the show going so far?
Well, Zach wouldn't shut us up, so far so good.
How about you, brother? How's life?
I didn't get a chance to listen to the show live last week, but I listened to the replay, and that I believe the fella called in from Calhoun County, and Jay Lee, you were talking about Weaver, right?
Yeah.
Weaver High School?
Yep.
So probably my 10th or 11th grade year out at Beulah, these guys dropped down from 3A to 2A, and 4-time defending state champs in wrestling. Every one of them dudes was 6'2", 200 pounds. Even the kicker had a neck roll, son. They did that up pretty good. Now, they weren't all that skilled, but, man, they were just big and strong. And so when you were talking about them in wrestling and all that, I lived through that.
They're a powerhouse, man. Let me fix my settings, man. Can y'all see me yet? Oh, there we are.
Yeah, I was going to say you were fading into the matrix there for a little bit, brother.
Bryce, Weaver, yeah, and they had pretty good baseball teams too, if I remember correctly. At Jack State, was that where it was? Great day in the morning. What was their names? I want to say Bobby. Hell, I don't know. Come back to me on that. Bryce, what the hell are you doing in Texas?
I'm in the Air Force.
Okay, then. My apologies.
Yeah, I'm a HVAC instructor down here at Shepherd Air Force Base.
Good on you, brother. Good on you.
Yeah,
and
man.
Thank you for your service.
I was stationed at Travis for the first 9 years, so it's basically Cal Berkeley, so I was glad there.
I can only imagine.
So there was another guy, Jhead, that was talking about when's the last time, about the offensive line for next year and when's, starting true freshmen on the offensive line. And I felt like you were getting ready to talk about it. But I remember, I believe it was the 2007 Auburn LSU game. We started Pugh, Chaz Ramsey, and Lee Ziemba down in Baton Rouge on a Saturday night. And Glenn Dorsey hit, I believe, Chaz Ramsey basically by the throat.
Yeah, he chokeslammed him
out of the way. It was the most impressive defensive tackle bull rush I had ever seen, obviously, until Fairley got there. But that was rough.
It was disrespectful.
Yeah, a little bit. Now, I know exactly what you're talking about. My brother might be the most rabid Auburn fan you've ever met in your entire life. He picked up Hugh and Ramsey at the same time, DDT'd him on the football field, and still made a play to sack the quarterback, which was Brandon Cox. We were literally blown away. I think my brother literally cried and turned the TV off at that point because you knew.
I remember that play. Is this the game that was it Matt Mock did the Dan Marino fake spike on us in the corner of the end zone, or was this another year?
No, that was the year that we got hit on the corner of the end zone with Les Miles eating the blade of grass out there.
Yeah, I remember that game, and then I believe it was John Vaughn going down there and missing all them field goals. That was another one that still haunts me.
Well, Kenny Irons, God bless him, got off in that game. I think he had 216 yards and 3 touchdowns or something of that nature. I mean, he was just out of his mind that night.
One of the more underrated
we
running
talked
backs
about
in Auburn
that. It made
history.
me think about that, but so I wanted to call in and talk a little bit about the NIL thing. So I know pretty much everyone saw today, and it's unfortunate, but it's still the reality that Miles Brennan down there at LSU is walking away from football or whatever his next endeavor is going to be.
Sure.
I did see in there, I believe it was one of the guys, I think it was Darren Ravel or whatever, and he goes in there and says that he had signed deals with Smoothie King, I think Raising Cane's, and 4 or 5 other places. And since it's not based on performance and it's not based on anything that the coaching staff is setting up, that he's walking away with that money, and there's not really anything they can do to recoup it. So then you see that one Twitter page on there, that message board genius, and then they put the kid of Malachi something that was like a lock to USC, and there's a deal floating out at A&M is going to give him 3 years, $15 million. Now, I don't think anyone honestly believes that much money is going out there. But I guess my question to you, Jhead, is, are we just literally in like the first days of the internet? Like everybody kind of gets what this is, but no one knows what the hell to do with it. And eventually it's just a wild, wild west right now. And this has just got to level out at some point, right?
Correct. And listen, I don't know all the ins and outs of NIL. I'm not exactly sure where this is going to lead us or what path we're going to go down. But what I will tell you is, in a free market society, eventually the market is going to correct itself. You're going to have enough deals go south or enough bad promises contingent on what side of the deal you're on that's going to, in and of itself, correct some of this madness that you're seeing right now. But that's probably 2-3 years down the road. In the interim, you have people like Tommy Tuberville and several other senators that have tried a series of legislation to make this more standard, not necessarily to curb the market, but so that everybody's playing on the same set of rules or the same sheet of music. Right now, contingent on what state you're in, you've got kids that can sign NIL deals, such as California. I think it's Nico Iamaleava, who's the quarterback that's committed to Tennessee, has already signed his deal and is benefiting from that now while he's in high school. Think about what an advantage that is for a kid that's in a California high school to be able to go ahead and draw that money and not have to wait until you get on campus. So
wasn't there something early on about California not letting them have NIL or something? Wasn't there like some sort of legislation they were trying to push?
The only thing I know that's happening in California is there's a push for them to be employees of the university, so as more or less to have them contractually obligated and to be no longer considered as student athletes. That's my understanding of the situation in California and how they have a name for the bill. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's more to make them employees and to kind of standardize the pay situation, where they're not having to go through various networks to get monetary incentive for their name, image, and likeness, and they're just being paid to come and play football at the university. We'll see how that shakes itself out. My guess is that's the direction we're headed, and probably collective bargaining with the TV networks will be a part of that. And as far as the players getting their portion, now I don't think it's going to be what anybody thinks it's going to be, but you're probably going to make it to where everybody gets a higher floor, but the ceilings that you're seeing right now are not going to fluctuate. You're not going to see the $1 million deals. It's going to be more in the thousands. You know what I mean? Where you can keep everybody kind of on the same page. But that's way getting out in front of our skis and probably a projection more on my standpoint than it is anything else. But that's kind of how I see this going, or the rabbit hole I see us going down anyway.
I got you. Well, yeah, last thing. So I was down in the
He was down in the hole.
Yeah, down in the swamp, man.
Bryce just took a wrong turn out there in Texas somewhere.
It sure did. Wrong turn.
Zach, you got somebody else online? Is that frozen?
Hey, he looks like he is.
He's a death stare, dude.
Bro,
Damn.
that's the new Philip Marshall right there.
I want that as my new avatar.
Yes, dude. Yes. And I just lost an avatar bet. So, man, if
Did you?
What was it? Something
I think we lost a caller midway.
Look like you went away too there, Zach.
Yeah, it's storming where I'm living, so
Oh,
it's
really?
probably that. Yeah. But we'll get to some questions, and if he calls back, we'll get him back in there.
All right, right on.
There you go, Jay Lee.
I'm sorry, man. I'm trying to get my background. I can't figure out what's. Am I back yet? There we go. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you're
I'm
back.
gonna leave it alone. Cedric Hawkins, the December guy, or a flip happens, is more likely to happen sooner. We talked about this earlier, JP. Listen, I would expect it to be a December thing, but I wouldn't be surprised. Mid-season guy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't listen. Let's be safe here. Don't expect it until December.
Right. Let's see how the season plays itself out first.
Because
Because I don't think any flip is going to happen until kids know that this coaching staff is 100% going to be here. You start off 5-0, okay, flips can probably start to happen. You start off 3-2, probably not. We're probably grinding it out a little bit longer as far as that goes.
yeah, I would say look long term on that. Blake Robbins. Oh, Blaker, how we feeling? Who could possibly be next to commit? Keith had a story up. I think he does it just about every time Auburn gets a new commitment. Is who could be the next to commit? I'm trying to remember who was it Janoris Wilson or
And that's the one that makes the most sense to me. I think Janoris Wilson and or Emory Williams probably are going to be your next two. And because Emory is a flip, I think that can happen because quarterbacks like to get their spot and they like to get it quick. So should we get him on campus, that's somebody that I think we could expect to ramp it up with. But no, I think you hit the nail on the head. Janoris Wilson's probably the one. If I'm watching anybody right now, it's him because of the amount of pressure we put on him to join this class.
he's on deck.
Yeah.
Whether he realizes it or not. Yeah, man, you need to get an offensive tackle on board.
Yes.
That would be ideal. Certainly. JP is back. Does Janoris Wilson have a lot of bad weight, or is he more college ready physically than some other guys? Looks good to me, Jhead, but you've probably seen him a lot more than I have.
So he's lost a significant amount of weight, and I was told that he came in right around 300 pounds when he was on campus for Big Cat Weekend. And I think he was significantly heavier the season before, and that is why some of the offers have not come in for him. Because from a skill set standpoint, he's a blue chip guy, in my opinion. When I put his tape up against other players, he's a guy that can play sooner rather than later. I don't think he's a guy that's going to start as a freshman or maybe even as a redshirt freshman, but as a redshirt sophomore, he's definitely somebody that could be in you 2 deep or start.
Yeah, those are the guys you want to come in after Felipe or Jhead. You want Jhead or you want a JUCO guy or a transfer guy to come in and fill these outside spots next year and then have these developmental guys be ready to go in a year or two.
Yep.
And I think that's kind of what Cole just texted me. I think that's what Will Friend was talking about last week, talking about bringing in some developmental guys, also bringing in some instant impact guys. And Janoris Wilson being that guy who has the ability, according to Jhead at least, of being that guy who could come in after a year or two in the program and start contributing immediately. What Cole say? What are you doing?
Coleman is his son, not his daughter. So Coleman, you're a man.
Is he? I thought he did have a son. I don't know why I thought it was his daughter.
You're a man. You're 40. You're one. You know what I mean? Sorry about that, brother.
Oh man,
we're gonna get you a legit shout out.
This is not the day to be assuming gender, is it? Oh, sorry for assuming your gender there, Cole. Cole Man. I mean, come on now.
There you go. You're right. You had man in the last part of the name. We should have known. And it was Cole tipping his hand there as to the gender of the child.
There you go, man. Swinging at the knees. Lord have mercy. Cam, so do I need to give up on Bo Hughley? I think you can't lose by giving up on Bo Hughley.
No.
I think you give up on him, and if it happens, great. And if it doesn't, then you're not surprised. That's man, I read a story today on On 3. Jeremy Johnson had an update. Cole put it up on our website as well. And that's the way I would view it. He's going to Georgia until he tells me differently.
Yeah, I'm on record as saying I don't see this happening, and I'm not trying to undercut anybody with this side or anywhere else by saying that. To me, he's this year's Curtis Perry. Okay, he's a guy that's going to tease you, flirt with you, visit you, get you all the way to the point, and then probably not commit.
He's going to edge you.
So to me, when a kid says my heart's at Georgia, Georgia at this point, from my understanding of the situation, is going to do everything that it takes to keep the young man. It's just likely not going to happen, guys. I want to let you down as gently as I possibly can here. Most kids that come from Georgia that commit to Auburn or anywhere out of state are kids that have made up their mind on the front end. They don't really like Georgia. They're kids like Takeo Spikes, like Carl Lawson,
Derek Brown,
that just said, you know what? Georgia's really not the end-all, be-all for
Brad
me.
Lester.
Yeah, Brad Lester. I can see myself somewhere else. Kenny Irons,
David Irons, yep.
You know what I mean? They're kids that already have made that determination well in advance that, they just don't see themselves at Georgia. They'd prefer Ronnie Brown. They'd prefer to be elsewhere. So
Ben Leard.
Yeah.
Ben hates Georgia more than he hates Alabama.
I love when Ben Leard gets on his Georgia rant.
Yeah.
Listen, we got to get Justin to get him riled up about Georgia again this year.
He's awesome. Frank Colazzo. Frankie, heard Nick Brahms might be done with football. Any truth to that, or just a rumor? Well, it's just a rumor until it's reported.
Yes.
I do think there is some concern there. You might know more about this than I've just been following along in our group text on the site, and there does seem to be some concern there about Nick Brahms and whether or not he will be back.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Jhead. I really don't know. That's about all I really know.
No official reporting has come out with regard to Nick Brahms' status, and I would not feel comfortable airing anything that is not an official word from Auburn University. I can say that Nick and Justin has reported this, and I've confirmed this with other people, that has had chronic knee issues throughout his time at Auburn. That he's experienced some pain there during spring or after spring, and had another surgery in June or July. That's all been reported by Justin, and that's where I feel comfortable leaving it right now. I'll let you draw your own conclusions, guys, as to what you think is going to happen. But yeah, there's some legitimate concern there as to whether he'll be able to come back this season or not.
And it might be that we don't know yet for sure. There's just concern that it is a possibility that he is done with football. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
But nothing definitive at this point. Oh, TJ, Miss Justice. With Bama missing out on Kelby Collins, who committed to Florida,
yes,
does it make Auburn's shot with Quay and Smith almost impossible at this point? I wouldn't say impossible.
No.
But to me, these are the guys in this class. These are the two guys in this class that I am Alabama until it's not. But I do think Auburn having a good year and beating Alabama would make it interesting.
Look, if we beat Alabama and have us better than expected, and this is a lot of ifs, okay, and a lot of speculation.
These are the things that has to happen for Auburn to have a legitimate chance of landing these two kids.
Correct. Auburn has to be 8 wins or better, victory over Alabama in the Iron Bowl, and be able to get these kids back on campus multiple times, not one time, not 2 times, multiple times, and be able to match any NIL deal that they get. If all of those things happen, those kids can land in your class. If none of those things happen, 1 or 2 of them happen, don't count on it, fellas.
I completely agree. I completely agree. I really think it's going to take the perfect storm for Auburn to pull those 2 guys away from Alabama. Seen this story for 20 years.
Yep.
Seen this story, seen this movie, whatever you want to. Read this story, I've seen this movie for 20 years. All of those things have to happen for these 2 kids to end up at Auburn. And not saying it won't. But that's a lot of ifs that's got to come. O'Grady's. His YouTube account. Updates on DJ Chester. Okay, I talked to DJ maybe last week or the week before. Still feeling LSU is the team to beat with him, but he's another. I mean, a lot of these guys, I can say the same thing, man. If Auburn's 5-0 at the end of the homestand,
yeah,
man, he's one of those guys where you're going, okay, I feel like there's a good shot. Because let me tell you something: if Auburn beats LSU,
Yeah.
and it's 5-0 going into, is Athens next, or is there a cupcake game?
Athens, then an Ole Miss, then a bye.
Okay. But I think he's another one of those. I mean, in my opinion, to this point, if you haven't committed to Auburn and you don't love Auburn, or like J.C. Hart grew up loving Auburn, or, you're at a position where you're ready to just knock it down. If you haven't decided yet, you're probably that's why it's hard for me to say. Janoris Wilson wants to get in. He's got that opportunity. It's a different. But for the others, like DJ Chester, if they haven't by now, they're probably not going to until October at the earliest. These guys, there's a lot of guys waiting to see what Auburn does. And if Auburn starts the season 5-0, finishes
8-4,
finishes 8-4, which is going 3-4 over your last 7 games, right?
Yeah.
So you can have a losing second half of the season, still finish 8-4, and made a lot of noise. And these kids are going, okay, I'm listening. And that's what it's going to take to get some of these kids. I think DJ Chester being one of them. I think there was another one.
And Chester, there's several layers to his, because you look at the guys that are really probably the top 3 schools, I think, in that recruitment right now are Auburn, LSU, and Florida State.
FSU,
all 3 of them are only
right.
How are they going to play this year? You know what I mean? Are they going to be 8 wins? Are they going to be 6 wins? Are they going to be, you know what I mean, better, worse? There's so many undecideds with the teams that are recruiting him very well right now. So that stability element really comes into play.
Teddy wants to know, biggest sleeper, Jhead, biggest sleeper in this class, who you think you make the biggest impact? Are we talking commitments here?
If we're talking commitments, I'm going to go J.C. Hart. If we're talking about actual prospects that we're in on, I'm going to go Alex Sanford.
Okay.
I love that kid's tape. I mean, he is a old school down here Mike linebacker with some twitch, man, and size.
I'm trying to think sleeper of the committed guys. You've got Wilkie, you've got Ashley, you've got Jeremiah, you've got Braden, JC.
And the only of the committed guys is
Terrence Love.
Composite 3-star is JC.
Yeah.
So by default,
yeah,
I think he's the most slept on for sure.
Man, he looks so good in person. Listen, this kid is the kind of kid you want. If you had 85 JC Harts, you'd have a damn good program.
Listen. So let me put my Auburn bias out there, okay, and my orange and blue glasses. But seeing a kid get that emotional about Auburn, that says something about the young man. Regardless of what happens this season, JC Hart is going to be there. Rain, snow, sleet, or shine. This is where he wants to be, man. And that, to me, that's something special when you get to witness something like that, and a kid like that gets to be in this class.
Yeah, I expect. I have high hopes for JC Hart.
Yeah,
I really do. He is going to be on the honor roll every semester. He's going to be in the community doing good works. He's never going to be late. He's going to be the hardest worker on the team. Love his ability, love his mindset, and I think he can be great. JP, Michael Smith, tight end, got offered today. Any information on him? Hell, I missed that.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now.
Tight end Michael Smith. Yeah, I was dealing with a contractor today, so I was kind of off and on, but I missed Michael Smith.
He's a 2024 guy.
Oh, hell.
Which is probably why, you know what I mean, the priority on recruiting that is – look, I think it's obviously a good offer. Anytime you can get ahead of the curve and offer a kid in 2024 that you've been able to evaluate. He's another prospect out of the state of Georgia, in South Georgia, the Savannah area, a place that we need to have a presence. So great offer. Glad it's a good early eval, and we'll just kind of see where it goes from there.
Well, that kind of brought me into what I was going to say earlier in the show when we were talking about 23 new offers. I know that's the 7th offer in the past 2 days for 2024 as Auburn has issued. Tight end Michael Smith. Is he a 3-star guy?
4-star.
Okay, 4-star. 4-star tight end Michael Smith. You got 4-star offensive tackle Josiah Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
You've got 4-star athlete Dwight Phillips, 4-star athlete Taylor. Can't even read my handline. Taylor Tatum.
Okay.
4-star running back Anias Williams. 3-star defensive lineman Dimitri Nichols. 3-star athlete David Iziomi. So Auburn has put out several. I think that's the 10th. I think I've counted more than 10 new offers, 7 of which have been 2024s, getting an early start on those guys, and then a handful of 2023 guys. So good looking out, JP. But yeah, 2024s, man, I'm so engulfed in the 2023s right now. It's hard for me to do anything else than just write down some 2024s when I see them getting offers.
But I will say this: you want to know what Drew Fabianich and his staff are doing? Well, they're doing it right now. You're seeing their work paying off with early evaluations and getting these offers out. So we're on the front end of the spear.
Holy cow, man! Let me tell you about coincidences. You remember we were talking to Bryce earlier about Weaver?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, who are those baseball brothers? One of their names was Wes Brooks.
Okay. Well, now we got a Wes Brooks here.
Wesley calls in, wants to know, heard of the grapevine that Jhead had intel on Quay and James, NIL deal. Oh, my God. Is this when they were telling – there was some idiot on some websites somewhere. I don't know where they were. There was that said I had said –
You had said that we were going to double
oh, yeah.
the NIL deal. And I said, no, that's a misquote. And Wes, this is what I said. What I was told is that we would match. We were not going to get beat on money on NIL deals for James Smith and Quay Russaw. I have been affirmed that is correct by other people. I don't think we're going to get beat on money for these guys. I honestly believe that. It's the other factors at play in their recruitment that obviously are more concerning to me than just the money. But no, we're not going to double or anything of that nature. I'm not anticipating that. Some grandiose offer. I'm expecting us to match or $1 more or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, we're ballpark, but we're not getting beat on money.
Right. That was my quote, was whatever the deal is from whomever else is, we'll add $1 to it.
Right.
That was what I said. Cleveland is back. When it came to Andy Jeffrard, who I did talk to him Sunday night, or
Yep.
maybe were we out of the loop on his interest in playing D-line as he committed to Archie? Hell no. Hell, he didn't even know he wanted to play a defensive line. He went up there, and they were the ones who pitched it to him on his official visit and pitched it to him so well that he came home, and a day later he committed. Now, he did say he just loved the D-line coach up there. He loved Sam Pittman. He got along with everybody really well, just really hit it off relationship-wise, because this is a kid that had just left Auburn about a week or two earlier. His official visit said, Auburn is on top, and I'm not going to make my decision until December. 2 weeks later, he goes to Arkansas, gets blown away by playing on the defensive line, and a day later commits to Arkansas. Now, with that said, to me, he's another DJ Chester in that if Auburn has the season that they're looking for. And listen, he's not hell-bent on playing, on playing defensive line. No. It's just, do I have that opportunity? And Auburn saying, hell yeah. Yeah, if you want that opportunity, we'll give it to you. Trey Donaldson, if you want the opportunity to play both sports, you can. Having that opportunity is big for a lot of these kids, and I don't think that was even an option for him before he went to Arkansas, and Arkansas actually pitched it to him. So I think he would definitely be on my flip watch list. You, Jhead?
Yeah, well, I came out with a reasonable flip watch list a while back. I think I posted it on the board of guys that reasonably I believe we could flip, and Ian Jeffrard was one of those. And I think there are multiple layers of this that I like. One is his proximity to Auburn versus his proximity to Arkansas. 2, if Auburn plays better this year than anticipated, and we get more than likely we'll get him back on campus for the Arkansas game. You stuff Sam Pittman and those hoggies, you know what I mean? Yeah. Those hogs in a locker, you know what I mean, in a packed Jordan-Hare Stadium, he's going to be paying attention at that point. But right now, you know what I mean, it is what it is as far as where we stand in the recruiting landscape. We know what the pitch is against Auburn. Kids are not going to give up a guaranteed spot in the class to jump into a situation that they don't know 100% is going to be there moving forward. That's just, it is what it is, guys. But bear with it. Let's see how the season plays itself out. And as the season goes, you're probably going to see an influx in recruiting from Keith, Jeffrey, Cole, and everybody else on guys that are now very interested in visiting Auburn here relatively soon.
I tell you, I forgot this guy earlier. You're going to have to help me with his name. We talked about him probably, I think, the last 2 weeks. Defensive lineman, was committed to Illinois. Jamarian Harkless.
Yes.
Jamarian Harkless is another defensive lineman, a new name to the board. And somebody was asking about the big board. I'm going to try to have a big board ready by the start of the season. We'll start updating it on a weekly basis. And but he would certainly be on there, as well as this the new guy from Louisiana.
Yes. Yeah. One of
Tadarius
those.
Collins.
Yeah. And I really like TD's tape, or Tadarius Collins' tape. He's a kid that I know we're probably pitching him at edge some. I think he grows into a Kobe Wooden 5-tech type guy. I just, you already see a kid that's 6'4", 240, 250. You get into a college strength and conditioning program, you're going to be 260 before you can turn around good.
Jhead, Thomas Jones wants to know, Thanos and Bad Moon Rising, how are they progressing on the defensive line? Any idea?
Jason Jones, you hear, look, let's give credit where credit is due. Justin has done a fantastic job, him and Cole, and you as well, Jeffrey, covering what's going on at camp right now and getting that information out there to our subscribers. Jason Jones has probably solidified himself as of today as the starting nose tackle. So you love what you're getting out of him. As far as Jeffrey Emba goes, my understanding of the situation is he's behind a few guys that he's still developing and learning to play at this level, that on athletic traits alone, he might be the most talented defensive player in our locker room right now. Like, he's got that kind of skill set, but his technique, his understanding of the game, you're talking about a kid that didn't start playing football until he was like a junior in high school. So it's just not where it needs to be right now. So he's still having to play catch up. Jimmy Brumbaugh is a very good technical football coach. My guess is he'll get him there, and by mid-season, you'll start to see more of a contribution from him. But don't expect a lot right now, to the best of my understanding.
I think that's fair. Just from what little I saw in the viewing window of practice, I thought that is a monster dude. And Jimmy was working with him. Yeah. But he had a lot to learn. I mean, he didn't look as polished as he looked the most unpolished of any of the group.
No.
When it came to the hands and all this, or at least that's the way it made it look from Jimmy Brumbaugh. James Barnett, fellas, what are your takes on the quarterback battle? Oh, I'm surprised that it took us this long to get to this.
100%. I figured we'd had a phone call about that within the first 5 minutes of the show.
Lord have mercy for everybody who has been under a rock. All the reports out of camp, all the insiders that have been to these scrimmages and practices say right now, and Justin posted this on the board, I think either today or yesterday, but according to him, at least to this point, if game day was tomorrow, you're looking at a TJ Finley backed up by Robbie Ashford.
Yes.
With Zach Calzada holding the clipboard.
Yeah.
Which was absolutely shocking to me. And somebody asked, is this TJ or Zach? I can't imagine this is nothing like TJ has to have improved, right? Because everybody says he looks pretty good. But surely Zach's been shit in the bed. And even when Justin and I watched, he wasn't as sharp as he wasn't as sharp as I thought. And somebody asked us, I think last week on the show, Jhead, and I know I was like, dude, let me ease your concerns, dude. It ain't going to happen.
Right.
Like TJ Finley is not going to start at quarterback. They didn't bring Zach Calzada in here to hold the clipboard.
Right.
He didn't bust his ass all summer long with his private instructor to hold the clipboard and do the hand signals.
Correct.
And let me take his size 10 boot right out my mouth.
I'm right there with you. Look, man. And look, I owe TJ Finley. I sat on this show a week ago, and I'm the one that answered that question and said, not happening. It's going to be Zach Calzada. Well, I'm telling you today, good on TJ Finley.
Man,
not rolling over, for coming into this situation and saying, you know what? How you like me now?
Yeah.
How you like those apples? Because I'm not going anywhere. Now, I will say that two things can be true at the same time, like you just said. I think it can be a situation where TJ has 100% improved, and most players do. Okay. No one player typically stays the same from one college season to the next. You're either getting worse or you're getting better. And it looks like at this point, TJ has gotten better. Calzada, from what I understand the situation from Justin's reporting and other people that I've spoken to, just hasn't been consistent.
There you go.
You know what I mean? The day-to-day, he's made some absolute money throws at times where it's like an NFL Brett Favre type throw. And on the next play, it's, he's skidding it in the dirt, 5 feet before it gets to the receiver.
Behind the guys, yes.
You know what I mean?
Very uncatchable balls.
Exactly. So highly inconsistent. At this point, if you're Brian Harsin, you're playing the best player at that position. Perception be damned. And if TJ knows the offense better and he's more accurate, then that's who he's probably going to go with. Now, my guess is you're going to see multiple guys, multiple quarterbacks go live against Mercer, and they're going to let those meaningful snaps probably dictate who they're going to move forward with going into the San Jose State game and obviously the Penn State game. But I think you're going to see multiple guys. I've heard it from too many people now that there just hasn't been, other than TJ's performance at the scrimmage, there hasn't been enough separation in the quarterbacks not to play one or two, or not to play two guys against Mercer to see what a guy like Robbie Ashford can do when it's live, to see if Zach Calzada gets better, to see if when it actually matters that TJ Finley goes out there and delivers. You know what I mean? Like, I think they want to see what these guys look like when the lights are on in Jordan Hare.
I hate multiple quarterbacks. I hate that damn turntable. I hate it.
I do too.
And now, you've got 2 cupcakes, presumably, to start the year in Mercer and San Jose State. You've got to go into San Jose State with a guy. This is my guy, right? You've got to have him locked in. If you want to play multiple quarterbacks in Mercer, I'll give you that. But, man, you better have it figured out before the next week. You need a full game of everybody on the same page, and you need to go at it against San Jose State. You have everything ready because Penn State's coming to town the next weekend, and that is a huge – it's the game of the season.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't look good against Mercer last time we played them. I mean, it was what, a 1-score game till the fourth quarter?
Yeah, but in that game, what I will say is we had 5 turnovers. Anytime you turn the ball over 5 times, you're going to make a game more competitive with lower level competition than you should. You know what I mean? If we don't turn the ball over, if Stidham doesn't throw a pick and we have 4 fumbles in that game, that game's not even close.
Yeah.
Zach, you have anybody on the line?
Yeah, but he's been waiting here. So 334, you're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
This is Matt from Auburn, Alabama.
Matt?
Yes, sir.
What's up, Matt?
All right, so I know just talking about the quarterback battle, but here's my behind the TJ Finley being as a starter. Even he could more like his like at a third,
Matt, you've got to be in Auburn because your cell service sucks.
Yeah, you sound like me about 2 months ago, bro.
And listen, I live 2 miles from Jordan Hare Stadium, and I have 1 bar of service at my house. Inside the loop, dude. Inside the loop. All right, Matt, hit us one more time, big dog.
All right, so with the incident with TJ Finley, what are y'all's thoughts on him second or third string instead of start?
I think he's asking with the helmet, the non-helmet incident, is there any chance he doesn't start? I don't think so.
No.
I think if there was any discipline or consequences, he's already served them.
If this were me, now I'm not Brian Harsin, and I have no idea how he handles punishment within his program. But to me, he'd be running stadiums till he puked, and that would be the end of it, okay, for making a teenage/early 20s mistake, okay? I thank God that social media and, the internet was like on the precipice of actually happening when I was in college, because some of the stupid things that I did that I could have put on social media would literally have been 10,000 times worse than what TJ Finley did, okay, cruising around without a helmet on a moped. Now, that's humorous in and of itself, as massive as TJ is, to imagine him on a moped. But look, it's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things.
I think you punish him for putting the university, the team, in a negative light.
Yeah.
You're the quarterback. You have a different set of standard.
Yeah.
But let's be honest here. He wasn't, slinging weed or anything. I mean, he was riding a freaking moped. He should have been punished for that anyways.
Right.
To be riding a moped without a helmet. But it wasn't like he was running from the law. Duke's a hazard, man. He wasn't. He heard that they were looking for him. He's like, "Hey, I'm right here. What's up?"
Yeah, the only thing that would have been better is if he'd have been doing it while he was wearing Crocs or something. You know
Yeah,
what I
there you go.
mean?
In two-wheel drive at that.
There you go.
What do you think,
That's
Matt?
my question. Do what?
What do you think about it?
Honestly, I thought it was.
My bad.
Yeah, my skill set was terrible.
You're good, man.
Yeah, man, that's bad. Are you on Wire Road?
Bro, I spent many a night out there. Strut and Duck 2.0.
I think it finally got him, but we got one more caller here.
All right, feed us.
Not from Auburn, I don't think. 919. Where are you calling from? Who you talking? Who we talking to?
How about you, fellas?
How about you?
Look out, calling from City of Dreams, Hickory, North Carolina.
Oh,
What's up, buddy?
what was his name?
This book out.
Look out! Look out!
Book out. Yeah. What's up,
Yeah,
Book
that's
out?
what I said.
What's up, fellas?
Oh, book out from Hickory.
Yeah, City of Dreams. Hey, listen. Listen, got a question about our some linebacker recruiting.
Okay.
Good one.
So looks like that Arkansas commit, I think it's Sanford, is
Alex
coming up the
Sanford.
board pretty quick. Just wanted thoughts on if we're taking him and taking Pulliam, the other guy. Feels like those are kind of at a similar position. I know, Jaylee, you talked to Christian Robinson maybe this week. What do you think about taking both of those guys? And would we be all right just taking those two guys?
Okay, that was actually what I was inferring when I was talking to C. Rob when I was interviewing for the Q&A. It was like, do you want one of each? Because I know both of those guys have said that Auburn's recruiting them to play the Mike linebacker position. So I was like, hey, and those two guys have set up official visits already. Alex for the Arkansas game and Pulliam for the Missouri game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's correct.
So that these two guys are very top of the board. And of course, you still got C.J. Allen out there. You've got Lewis Carter out there. You got Jaden Osbury out there. You've got a lot of studs that Christian was, he was like, hey, we're on some elite guys that they want to see us perform. We understand that. So I wouldn't kick the book completely out the window on those guys. But we're talking about the best chances right now. You're talking about those two guys, Marcellus Pullum and Alex Sanford. Both of them Mikes, but Christian, I thought he answered it fairly well. And he said, you give me those. He didn't say those two guys. You can't mention names, but give me two guys that want to be coached, that want to be Auburn, that want to be better, that want to be a team guy. And Auburn will be great. So it was almost like these two guys, I can make it work with these.
And one other thing I'll say, more than likely you're losing Derek Brown's little brother this season, Cam Brown. I can't imagine he's going to be here after this year. So you're losing a scholarship middle linebacker, and you're losing Owen Papo, who's a scholarship middle linebacker. So it makes sense to take two inside linebackers in this class. And if you can get an outside guy that's, a quality enough player, you probably would take one. And maybe you'll reach into the portal and grab one if you can't find one that you like from high school. So I don't think it's a bad thing. When I went back and looked at the depth chart, and I think it was something that I heard either you or Keith say, Jeffrey, when you look at the losses, those are your two projected losses. Well, both those guys play Mike linebacker. It makes a lot of sense to take two Mikes in this class.
Yeah. And get a third if you can.
Yeah.
Which he didn't completely rule out. But yeah, linebacker, it's going to be interesting to see if Auburn could get both of those guys committed before, let's say, October. Would they? Like, do you take both of them, or do you take the first one, and then do you go after a Lewis Carter or C.J. Allen? Do you leave the door open? I think you go ahead and get whoever wants in, and then those guys would be bonus. You got a huge class.
Yeah, I think with you, like you said, Jeffrey, I think you probably are going to take until you get to about 15 slots, and then you might start being judicious. Like if you even if you have a grade on them where they're a take, you know what I mean, then you're probably going to take till you get to about spot 15. And then it's like, okay, now we can start to decide, all right, do we want to take this guy? Do we want to go to the portal? Do we want to go to JUCO? What do we want to do here? You know what I mean? Like what fits the need? But getting the base of the class, I think you're right. I think the next 7 prospects are pivotal to start filling those spots.
And I'd like to see that at every position, right? Give me a couple of offensive linemen. Give me a linebacker. I want to see, like we talked about Rock Bellantoni getting that foundation with Ashley Williams and Wilkie Denard. I just love that. Now he can shoot for the moon, you know, and and fall back with a couple of stars, as they say. But good stuff. Good stuff there.
That would be nice. I think that would be ideal. I think we saw this staff being judicious with one person committed, so we'll see on that. So, I don't know. And then have one more question for you guys. I know you've seen some practice windows and stuff. Feels like our starting D-line is pretty set. You know, Harris, Wooden, Jones. But was wondering what you think that second kind of line looks like. I know talking about Imba is a little bit maybe further down or what. Just kind of what you think that second line coming out will be.
Who you have? Did you say Eku, Colby? I mean, I guess that's if you're doing 4 down linemen. You got. I mean, how else are you gonna get Eku, Derek Hall, Jason Jones, and Colby Wooden on the field at the same time?
Yeah, it depends on the front.
I wasn't doing the edges.
Oh,
okay. You were talking 3, 5, 7. Is that right, Jhead?
Yeah, well, it depends on the front that you're going to be in, Bookout. So we're going to basically base out of a 4-2-5 this year. That's what I'm seeing, but it depends on situational play. So if you're talking, you know what I mean, you're in more of a spread set and it's second and behind the chains, you're probably going to have 2 edge defenders walked up on the line of scrimmage in Echo Leota and Derek Hall and or their backups in Marcus Bragg and Dylan Brooks. And then you're going to have 2 interior guys that are either in the 2-eye, the 4, the 3. You know what I mean? I'm not exactly sure how they're going to align them. Jeff Schmidt is going to kind of slide that front, maybe slant some guys to get creative and create some pressure there. So when you're in that kind of a front, you're probably looking at Jason Jones and you're looking at Colby Wooden being your down guys with Marcus Harris and probably Marquise Burks being the next 2 behind them, I would think at this point. If we're going to go into a heavier front, you're going to slide Colby Wooden outside to the 5 or the 6 tech. Then you're going to have Jason Jones on the nose with Marcus Harris at the 3 tech, flanked by probably Derek Hall and or Echo Leota as that stand-up edge on the outside. Either which way, it's going to be a 4-2-5. It's just going to be contingent on your down and distance and situational play as to how we're going to stack it. And behind those guys, now, don't forget about this name. My main man, Mojo, Morris Joseph, has made some noise. He has been better than they anticipated, and it's why I don't think Imba will play right away because Morris has probably outkicked his coverage to a degree and come in and been better, technically speaking, than they thought he was going to be at this point. I think he's somebody you're going to see in that second-team rotation.
Oh, Mojo. Noted.
Yeah, I figured you'd have Burks at that backup nose, and then I assumed Walker would be at that backup 5, but it sounds like Mojo might be there.
Well, it depends on, like I said, once again, I think Walker's in play there too. I don't think that, you know what I mean, it's a situation where he's not going to play. But once again, it depends on the front that you're in. Are you in a larger front or are you trying to put more speed on the field? It's really contingent on situational play.
Well, it won't hurt to have some depth.
No, we didn't have enough of it last year, and you saw that down the stretch where we were completely wore out there towards the end. With the exception of the Bama game, you could see starting at about A&M that our defense started to give way.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and you ever get pressed, just bring Jeremiah right back. So.
Oh, but hey, Bookout, we appreciate you, big dog.
Hey, appreciate you, fellas.
All right, buddy.
All right, we got our last 3 callers here. The call line went crazy during that one.
Okay, we'll hit them up real quick.
256, you're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Joseph, aka the Cool Finger of Doom on Twitter, calling from beautiful Highway 280, somewhere between Henry and Chelsea.
You sound like you're a million miles away from the phone.
Yep. Speaking to your receiver a little bit more, brother.
Yeah. Let me. How's that? A little bit better.
Yeah, your hair better. Go ahead, man.
Okay. Yeah. We got that again. Yeah. This is Joseph Curtin Finger of Doom on Twitter, calling from Highway 280.
Oh,
Okay.
God bless you.
Yeah. Anyway, getting a little feedback over here, so I'll just go ahead and my question out pretty quick. Have we talked about the new hire with On to Victory, the new director?
Yeah. Brett Whiteside.
Yeah, I was coming in late to the live stream, so
Oh, you coming in late?
Yeah, he said he
just
tuned
a little
in late.
trying to fight all the traffic.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, Brett Whiteside, the executive director now of On to Victory, Auburn's main NIL collective. A lot of history with Auburn. Was here with Gus Malzahn, wore several hats, as Jay had said earlier. Been at Missouri with Eli Drinkwitz, Andy Lutz, Curtis Looper, Casey Woods. A lot of Auburn connections up there at Mizzou. And then wanted to loved Auburn, has come back as the executive director. Is going to hit the ground running. Really excited about Brett. I think it was a fantastic hire. I think Jhead said it was grand slam, and wants everybody to get everybody joined up, unified, and then have that subscription model out before the first of the season. So be on the lookout for that. Oh, he got to 459.
I think he fell victim to 280.
Yeah,
Man.
we all been there, big dog. Joseph though, Joseph from Twitter. That's what I got.
Hey, that's fine.
Okay.
205. You're live. Who we talking to? Where you calling from? Hopefully not 280.
Or Auburn.
Hey, this is Bo from Moody.
All
What's
right.
up, Bo?
What's happening, fellas?
You know it, Bo.
Hey, War Eagle.
How about you?
Brother?
Hey, any receiver news?
Yes. Are you talking recruiting?
Yes, sir.
I like you, Bo. Bo, I talked to Jalen Brown, who's committed to LSU, oddly enough, from Miami, which is not something you see. Yeah. But, I got to talking to him, and a big reason for that was his mom lives, I think, in Mississippi, central Mississippi, where his dad's in Miami, his mom's in central Mississippi. So there is some extenuating circumstances with him going to LSU. He visited back in March, I think, with a big group of those kids that came up from South Beach or South Florida, wherever they were. I think they were all in a big bus, but he really liked it. Said he's coming back, and so I wanted to call and check in with him. He did say, "Yes, I do plan," or "I'm probably." He said probably. I don't want to oversell it, but he said I'm probably. I will say this, man. I know Amon Lane, not Amon Lane. He's committed to Auburn. Jacoby Lane from Arizona, that wide receiver. Mark him off the list.
Yeah.
Mark him off the list. He was a big 6'3" guy, but Auburn, they're not in on this kid anymore, and but not gonna be recruiting him further. So mark him off the board. You've got Carmelo English committed. Who were some guys we were talking about last week? I know we talked about wide receiver last week.
Brown from Tallahassee.
Keon Brown, right? Yep. Keon Brown. He's kind of in the same boat as Jalen in that probably going to visit. He's eyeing the Penn State game, but nothing's set in stone. I think a lot of these guys are especially at wide receiver, are going to wait and see what this offense is like, who their quarterback's going to be.
Yeah.
But having Carmelo English as that foundation in that group.
DeQuavius Sorey is a name that I'm keeping my eye on.
There you go. There you go.
He's likely going to visit this fall as far as that's concerned, and probably logically speaking makes the most sense right now if Florida has filled up, which is what's being reported right now at his position. We'll see how that goes. But I'm with you, Jay Lee. You probably wide receivers are in the area, and we saw it last year with like a Camden Brown where a guy pops late because he had a big senior year. It happens every season. So that may be a situation where Ike's looking to circle back and say, okay, who's had a big year, who meets the traits of what we're looking for as a big outside wide receiver, and kind of double back on that person.
Yep. Need
What
some
about
size.
Spring?
Preen committed to LSU today. And Jeffrey's he's been in front of everybody on this. Unfortunately, we've got like 5 slot receivers on the team this year, Bo. And I think, if I'm being honest, Daz Worsham probably was the nail in the coffin on that, because once they took Daz, there really was not enough room to take this young man. It's unfortunate because Kai's a fantastic talent, but I think we felt like we needed a receiver in the room. At that point, we couldn't wait another season to get somebody.
I was going to change the subject. What have y'all been watching the NFL with Seth Williams?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, did you see how he did Kelvin Joseph again?
2.0.
Punked him, didn't he?
He just didn't flex on him.
Yeah.
Hey, Bo, real quick, man, on Kai Preen, I will say that he's committed to LSU. Auburn just didn't find a spot for him, but I don't think Auburn's going to be completely over that. We talked about him being that Cordell Patterson guy who could just be a weapon, just find a way to utilize him. I think that's still an option, kind of a utility guy. I think if he were to end up in Auburn's class, that would be him, not as a wide receiver, not as a running back, but more as a utility, kind of an athlete.
Yeah,
I still think there's the door is open for that. And he had set an official visit for the Penn State game, and I'm not sure that he has canceled that. So I think there's still going to be a line of communication there. I know Trevon Reed has a really, really long-standing familial relationship with Kai Preen. He has known this kid since he was little. And so there will be talks with Kai Preen until probably signing day. And if Auburn can get him in this class, find a hole for him, I think you could see that certainly come back into the picture. But as far as wide receiver, he just doesn't fit what they need this year.
right.
We need to find another Ontario McCaleb, man.
Oh, Fort Meade.
Yeah.
Fort Meade. I loved Ontario.
Or
Squirrel.
Tristan Davis.
Ooh, it's Tri-Cities.
Yeah.
You
All
talking
right,
Jeffrey?
War Eagle, y'all. I appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you, Bo. Appreciate you, big dog. We got last call.
Last call, we're shutting it down with Felix.
Felix, the cat.
Hey.
Felix, you're live, man.
War Eagle, guys.
War Eagle, Felix.
You calling from the litter box, Felix? I always say that because Felix the cat, right?
Yes, sir. Felix.
Okay. I didn't want it to be some dude.
I've been wanting to call and say this. We look 10 times better than we last year. We got a bigger wide receiver room. Tight end room is this. I believe it's pretty damn good. I'm worried about the center, that guy, his knees.
Yeah.
That's terrible, man. That's terrible. But I'd rather him go ahead and get out now before he hurts himself real bad. And something bad happened to him. But anyway, hopefully they can get somebody in there. They can play that position. But anyway, like I was saying, we actually have a quarterback competition. That's leaps and bounds from last year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, from an actual competition standpoint, yes.
Right.
Yeah, we actually got competition with all over the whole team.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some of them part already. The Moore guy, I heard he was pretty damn nifty.
Coy Moore?
Corey Moore, yes, and the other guy, Brown.
Camden Brown.
Oh, Camden, yeah.
Oh my God, I heard he was a pretty good guy. He just got there, didn't
Just got here. Sure did. True
Yeah.
freshman.
I was like, my God, yeah. See, and I can't believe these things. This narrative about playing freshmen. I mean, if the guy can play, the guy can play.
Yeah, and he
I'm
can.
not sure he got to do all the right steps, do all the right, the tree and all that stuff. I'm sure he got to hit that pretty damn good. But other than that, I mean, like Georgia, they had a tight end. He was a true freshman the year, and he was bang up.
Isaiah Bowser.
Yes. Yeah, my Lord. Anyway, he carved us up pretty good.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was going to ask you about this the poll that just come out.
Oh yeah.
What is USC doing up there? I mean, and we're not even in the top 25. They're not giving us no respect at all.
Well, you know what? I think I saw Philip Marshall write that LSU, Auburn, Tennessee, Florida.
Yes.
Listen, you can tell just by the AP top 25 that the SEC was intentionally. I mean, I think there were only 4 SEC teams in the entire top 25.
Yep.
That's unbelievable. That's a bunch of shit, too.
Crazy.
You got Pittsburgh up there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and they might be good with their schedule, but you can't tell me that I would really love to know the line if Auburn and Pitt in a neutral site.
So right. And because this is the interesting point here, Jeffrey, are we really ranking the 25 best teams, or are we ranking what we think is going to happen as the season plays itself out? Because I think that's what you got a lot of, is they're anticipating that the SEC West is going to cannibalize itself.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so you're just not – they're predicting what's going to happen or future casting what's going to happen, as opposed to just saying, like, hey, who's got the most talent on their roster? Who's the best set up to be the best team?
I think Alabama was at 1, Georgia was at 3, A&M at 6, and then somebody else was like at
Ole Miss.
14. Ole Miss?
Ole Miss 20. Yeah.
Yeah, Ole Miss was like 20 something or
Yeah, I'm not buying Ole Miss this year. I'm not. You're going to have to show me on that one.
Only one team in the SEC East is better than Pitt, NC State. Well,
Right.
you know what? You got to remember who's voting, right?
Yep.
These are a bunch of idiot
Let the season
sports
play
writers.
itself out. I guarantee you, you're going to have 5 or 6 SEC teams ranked by the time the season's done in the top 25.
To me, polls, preseason polls, this is all they're good for right here.
Right.
This is all they give you something to talk about.
That's right. It's talking season.
Yeah, good point though, Felix. I hear you, man.
Well, I appreciate it, guys, and thank y'all for letting me talk one more time with y'all.
Absolutely, big dog.
Thank
Appreciate you. Oh, Cruton Finger of Doom let us know Joseph, a.k.a. Joseph from Twitter, did make
just
it
an
out.
update. Kentucky and Arkansas were also in the top 25.
Okay.
Oh, were they?
So Bama was 1, Georgia was 3, A&M 6,
Yeah, I'm not buying
Arkansas
that.
19, Kentucky 20, Ole Miss 21.
Huh. Man, I did that the other day, and I was looking at – I know what – well, Arkansas was on Auburn's schedule too, because I was looking. I said Auburn plays 3 of the top 6 teams.
Mm-hmm.
And Ole Miss, Arkansas, so that's 5. Yeah, and you're right. That was right. 20.
It could have been the
20%.
coaches poll because the coaches poll also just dropped, so they might have had some differences.
No, it was 5. It was 5 SEC. Oh, there were 5 teams in the AP, or I think it was the AP top 25 that Auburn played. That's what it was. Because the girl from Notre Dame was like, the girl covers Notre Dame was like, oh, Notre Dame plays, 2 of the top 20 teams in this poll. And I was like, Auburn plays 3 of the top 6, big dog.
Yeah, and that's every year.
Every year. That's their schedule. So, yeah. Anyways, well, hey, congrats to Joseph for getting off a 280 and the 459. I think that's malfunction junction. If it's not, it should be. You want to hit
comments if y'all want to knock them out real quick?
Let's do a little lightning round right here, Zach.
Okay.
Trey Mack, Jhead wants to know how hot is the hot seat of this staff if Quay and James pull a Travis Hunter and go to Alabama State? She'd probably be. I think people would rather see him go to Alabama State than Alabama.
100%, because that's what you're looking at. With Travis Hunter, he was committed to Florida State, played them up until the end, and flipped to Deion Sanders and Jackson State. Completely different situation. These are kids that'll be making decisions on signing day.
WDZ 33. What's up, 33? When are y'all thinking Marcellus Pulliam commits? I'm thinking mid-season.
Yep. I agree, Jeffrey. Mid-season, he wants to see if we're going to be around. If we are, I can see him pulling the trigger quick.
Maybe after that Missouri game.
Yep.
Trey Mack's back. Do you think our secondary can be a top 5 secondary in the SEC, Jhead?
Yes, 100%. I think we can be a top 5 secondary in the SEC. Definitely top half.
Better be.
Yeah, going to have to be.
Mm-hmm. DT 97. How concerned should we be about the current Auburn quarterback battle? Concerned, Jhead. Should you be concerned about the battle?
Concerned? Yeah, I think you can have some concern because Calzada to this point has been inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's definitely concerning. Is it something that we should freak out about? No, because until a game is played and we see what these guys actually look like, you're really kind of going off what's being subjectively reported. You know what I mean?
Right.
We have guys inside these scrimmages. Everybody else does too. They're getting into it, but we are not actually seeing this happen live. Don't exactly know how these guys look. And we don't know the situations that they were put in the scrimmage either. Was their hand tied behind their back and the coach wanted to see what they did against the blitz, certain fronts.
The personnel in which they played?
Exactly. You know what I mean? Those are situational by purpose because they want to understand and get certain bits of information on these guys. So don't read too much into that. But, yeah, be concerned that Calzada has not performed at this point, you know what I mean, or been consistent.
That was the only concern place for me is that Calzada didn't come in here and take the job by the reins and say, it's my job.
Yeah.
Y'all fight it out for, and that's what I thought. That's what I thought. I thought Zach Calzada would be head and shoulders above the rest right now, and Robbie and TJ would be fighting for the backup spot, and that's completely opposite, completely wrong. Cleveland is back. Considering QB development has been nearly non-existent for the last 3 Auburn quarterback head coaches, if TJ balls out this year, how much credit will Harsin deserve?
A ton.
Shit, yeah.
Look, if TJ Finley goes out there and throws for, 2,700 yards, has double-digit touchdowns and minimal interceptions and throws for over a 60% clip, given where he was last year to where he is this year, Brian Harsin should get pretty much, him and Eric Keesaw should get a ton of credit for developing this kid. And let's be honest here, he's still a very young kid. You're talking about a kid that came in at 17 at LSU without a spring in a COVID year and played 5 games. Last year, he came to Auburn, did not have a spring. You know what I mean? Was his first year in a new system. Now they've changed offensive coordinators again. Similar system, but changed offensive coordinators. If they elevate his game and get him to what I just talked about, look, those guys should be talked about as, Broyles Award finalist and, head coach of the year in the SEC.
Mm-hmm. I concur. Hugh Rayleigh. Who are the offensive line starters? I think this is pretty set in stone. No. Well, we've had some mix up in the middle there.
Yeah.
Give me your starting 5 tomorrow, Jhead.
Killian Zaire at left tackle. At left guard, I'm going to go with Cam Stutz. At center, I'm going to go with Tate Johnson. If not Brandon Council. That's, I think, probably the 2 you're going to rotate there. At right guard, I think you're going to see Keandre Jones now that he's back from injury. And at right tackle, you're going to have Austin Troxell.
Mm-hmm. Marcus Deal. Man, I looked at this guy the other day. He was an interior offensive lineman that was mentioned back in the early summer. Any movement or new information with him? No. I'm moving on from him. I didn't even try to call him. I looked him up. And I was like, He did visit. I think he did, or he was planning to. Timothy Youngblood. How has the transfer portal changed the way we recruit, holding off on some guys we might take otherwise? Well, last year it changed a lot of things. I think Auburn was trying to keep some holes, some spots to fill, and it backfired on them. Jhead, what do you think?
I think most people see leveraging the portal a way of raising the floor of talent. not necessarily the ceiling, but raising the floor because you're getting a more finished product as opposed to a high school player that you don't truly know what you're going to get. So there's a little less ambiguity or unknown of how a player is going to, I guess, progress within your actual program in and of itself because they've already been 1 or 2 years on a college campus. They've been in a strength and conditioning program. They're just looking for an opportunity at this point to play. So I think you're kind of hedging your bet some, and that's why you see guys maybe holding some spots for a more developed product than what you're going to get from high school.
Oh, Grayshawn Swain. That's who he's talking about. Grayshawn Swain from Anniston, 2024 Edge, I believe, 4-star Edge. Is he akin to Anthony Swain? That was from Anniston as well. Anthony Swain was from Gadsden.
Yes, he was.
Anthony Swain was from Gadsden. So, I mean, they're still an hour apart, I think, but I do not think so, or at least not to my knowledge.
You know, Gaston City used to be loaded back in the day, didn't they?
It was year after year, man. You know, Drake, we're so old, dude. Drake Kirkpatrick's son.
Oh, I know, Jeffrey. I saw that the other day.
I'm like, dude.
You were just on the field for Bama.
Great day. Zach, how we looking, big dog? We got caught up?
We're good. We're good.
Sweet. Good. 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 Well, we'll listen. Thank y'all for another great show, man. Thanks to Bryce. Thanks to Matt, Bookout, Joseph, Bo, Felix for all calling in. JP, Blake, Frankie, Tidwell, Cleveland, and Thomas Jones. Some others, I think, had some questions, comments in the show. We really appreciate that, man. We appreciate everybody listening. Appreciate everybody calling in with your questions, calling in with your comments. We really enjoy it. We couldn't do it without you, man. We do appreciate it. Big, how about you out there to Coleman? Big dude, Coleman. 1 year old,
Yes.
masculine.
That's right.
We're going to be a middle backer.
He's getting an arm flex from the table right now.
Yeah. Happy birthday to Coleman. Hey, we'll have Cole back on Friday for the next installment of the Shrivel Freaking Pond. So y'all be sure to tune in for that, man. We're going to be following and recruiting these new offers. Stay tuned to the Auburn Live on 3. Still got the $1 special for a year going on. If you haven't already, go and get signed up. It's practically free for an entire year. All the stuff we talk about on here, you'll be the first to know about it when it does happen. Jay, we really appreciate you, big dog. Zach, you're the MVP. Always have been, big dog. Appreciate you, man. Anyways, we'll see everybody Friday or on the board tomorrow, man. For Zach, for Jhead, I'm Jeffrey Lee, man. Stay out of the left lane, please. See you.